Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another super cool radio interview. I'm your host, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have an awesome guest joining me at this time who I'm very excited to have on the podcast. She's a vocalist for Deadlands and the touring vocalist for Nita Strauss's solo band. Please welcome Kasey Karlsen.
What's up, everybody?
Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I know we have quite a bit to discuss. As you know, as we kind of talked about earlier, you've been very busy with everything, and I know we had quite a bit to talk about in this interview.
Dude, hell yeah. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm super stoked. I can't wait to be a part of this super cool interview. I'm so excited. Yeah, we will definitely get to talking about all the busy things that we have because I got a lot to say, I think.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to it. But before we really dive into the music side, so I'm curious for you, a fun question that I've been asking my guests lately. So for you, what is one album and one video game you recommend everyone check out in their lifetime?
Oh my God. Okay.
Jumping in heavy here.
Yeah, no, really. These are the hard-hitting questions. I think album. I mean, I have Avenged Sevenfold in the back. I literally, fun fact, I just met Johnny Christ at NAMM, so I feel so blessed. I was like, oh my God, I'm in the room with a legend. And then he decided to post me on his podcast story. I was like, there's no way. But
nice.
I was like, holy shit. I think City of Evil is wonderful. I mean, Nightmare is such a basic answer, but Nightmare is so good. And I guess this album isn't even out yet, but a lot of the singles are out, and it's this new band who we will actually totally get into talking to about later, because we have some big news with them. But they're pretty wild. Like, I don't exactly know what their album is called yet, but I know it's gonna slap because they've been showing me a ton of their stuff, and I'm so proud of them. Like, they're absolutely incredible. So everybody has to check out everything that they have. They went from country band to metal band, and like just everything that they do is perfect. I have nothing to say about it. As for a video game, I have, oh my God, this is such a hard question. Well, depends. It's multifaceted, I think. So I'm actually in a video game. My voice is in a video game called Crystalla. And it is like a horror. It's almost like Assassin's Creed a little bit. It's like an RPG. Souls-like RPG is the way that they phrase it. And it's cats. So it's like magic cats. It's fucking sick. And I voice the main character in that. And I voice like a monster too. And like all the voicing is done by metal peeps. So it's like, you gotta check it out, right? If you like cats, you like metal, I think that's an obvious answer. And then as far as one more, because, you know, I don't want the whole thing to be, you know, promoting them or whatever, although I think it's an amazing game. I mean, I'm a Fortnite girly. Like, I actually am pretty good at Fortnite. For the horror peeps, Dead by Daylight sounds phenomenal. And I think a lot of people don't know about that game that should. So I'll go with that, Dead by Daylight.
Well, very nice. A lot to unpack with that. Yeah. But Avenged Sevenfold is awesome. Actually, well, I got a good friend of the podcast who's appeared on the show before, my friend Mike Miller. He's like a huge Avenged Sevenfold fan, so that's how I got into Avenged Sevenfold. Nightmare is my favorite. I know that's like, it's like everyone's go-to answer, but also I think it's like one of their best albums.
Oh yeah, no, like totally. And I think, you know, talking about the unfortunate death of the Rev, like I think that was like his last parting piece. And I think he just really gave us his all in that album. So I think that's one of the biggest reasons why it's my favorite.
I agree. I agree with it as well. But also, focus on like the video games. I didn't know you did voice acting for a video game. So like I'm curious, how did that come about?
Dude, oh my god. Okay, so do you know Taylor Destroy?
I've heard the name, not super familiar.
Okay, I'm sure if you see her face, like you would know who she is. But she is one of my best friends. She's absolutely phenomenal. She's also a screamy girl, so she's great. Her band Aspect Iris is great. But she was telling me, she was like, "Oh my god, like this video game company hit me up and like wanted me to do some voice acting for them for, you know, like they're hiring all metal vocalists. Like Will Ramos was involved. I don't know if he still was doing the voice acting, but I know he was involved at one point. The dude from Signs of the Swarm was involved. I believe Hunter Black is still involved. I think Jessie Grace, if you know her, Full Metal Jessie, she's got like stark red hair. Yeah, like there's so many people involved in that. And I was talking to Taylor. I was like, dude, I want to do it so bad. And she was like, well, I told them that you want to do it. And they said they were going to hit you up. And then they did. So I was like, fucking hell yeah, dude. Like, I'm so down. And, you know, it's so funny because I've never done voice acting for a video game. I would not call myself a producer in the slightest. Like, I do the bare minimum when it comes to recording vocals, recording covers, recording literally anything, right? And Allie, who is like she like owns the whole thing. She is like chief of whatever. I don't even know her role, but I know she's like head honcho over there, right? So she was like, dude, I had to ask some of the other peeps to resend in their stuff because yours were just so clean. And I was like, there's no way I did it that good. I was so proud of myself. I was like, I never do things right. Go me.
Well, way to go with setting the bar for everyone. You made everyone do more work because of you.
I feel so bad. I feel like the guy who's like the teacher, you know, teacher, we have homework. But you know what? I didn't do it intentionally. I was just like, man, I wanted to do it the right way. And I just feel proud that I did. Because I always fuck up the first time.
Well, I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad you did very well with the vocals. That everyone had to, step up their game as well with it. But it kind of reminds me of like when there's a curve on a test, but someone gets 100%, so like everyone just gets the grade they get at that point.
Oh no, you're so right. Now I feel like such a dick. But I didn't mean to. It's not like they asked me to resend it or whatever. I didn't point it out. They were just like, yours are great. So we want everybody else to do the same thing. I'm like, fuck. It worked. You know what? It worked out. Everything sounds wonderful. That's all we can ask for.
Exactly. Now, like, not focusing on the negative side of that. It's actually a very good thing with it. So I'm glad everything went well with that, and the quality is there for everything as well. So like I'm curious, so like is voice acting like different than like recording music or performing on stage?
Definitely than performing on stage. As for recording music, well, yes. Okay. So when you record music, most of the time the producer will ask you to do doubles, or like, they'll ask you to try to record the same thing the exact same way twice, so that it makes everything sound more full and balanced and whatnot. So when you're voice acting, like the thing that they ask you to do is, instead of doing everything the same, you got to do everything differently. So like if I were to do a jump, I'd have to go like, huh, like three different sounds. So like you have to make sure that you're not doing the same thing, and I'm so used to doing the same thing that it is a little bit more challenging, especially when it comes to like you'll have jump, crawl, run, sprint. Like you'll have so many different versions of it, like and it definitely takes some time, but it's still like the result is super, super cool, and I was just so lucky to have been a part of it.
Oh, for sure. Well, last thing, then, obviously we got to cover some more aspects of your career as well, but did you ever think you'd be a voice actor as a cat in a video game?
No. I literally, that was the last thing on my mind. And as much as I was like, oh yeah, I'd love to do voice acting, because I have always loved acting when I was like younger. And I still do love acting. Like, I actually just auditioned for a short film, so that's super cool. But voice acting in a video game, as much as I was like, oh, that'd be super cool, like that, but that's never gonna happen. I didn't think it'd be for a cat. I thought it was gonna be for like COD Zombies or something, where I was just like, like it just going crazy. But I do scream in that video game as one of the characters, so kind of similar. Not there, not like Call of Duty yet, but we're still getting to the brutal side of things, so I'm down.
Oh, yeah, I think you have opportunity for that coming up at some point.
Thank you. I hope so.
But now, focusing on Deadlands now. So obviously, I want to highlight the latest single for you guys, which is "Villain." How was it writing and recording the single? Because it has like a different like feel compared to like some of the previous music.
Yeah. So we were working on that song with Boy What. I'm not sure if you've seen him everywhere, I'm sure, because he did all the Plankton stuff.
Oh, right? Really?
Like Plan Z, he came out with Neon Tide. So he has been around the block for a minute. But that was our first time like really working with him. That was the first time that I really worked with him in like the same room. And we actually wrote Villain in like, I think it was like 4 hours from start to finish. It was CJ, who is the guitarist and producer of Deadlands, for anybody who doesn't know. And then Eli, Boy What, they wrote the verses, choruses, like the instrumental bits on an acoustic guitar. It probably took them about like an hour. And then they came over my house and were like, hey, write to this. And I was like, oh, all right, sick. I will. Okay. So then I finished the lyrics, and, I kind of tweaked the melody just a little bit, probably in like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then it was done. I was like, that was fast. That was insane. So it was, and it's so funny. I feel like the best songs do come out like that, because we took a minute. House of Cards was written really quick, and then the single that we're about to come up with was written in a matter of 2 days. So like craziness. But yeah, it definitely was a different process for me.
So like with that, do you like write lyrics first and then match up the music, or like is it kind of similar to with Villain?
Honestly, it depends. It depends on what we are feeling as a vibe. For me personally, I always find it so much easier to start with a blank canvas, then get like the best melody line, I like to start with the melody, because then you could get creative with what's around it. And the weird thing about me is that since I can't play any instruments, like I can't produce songs in my head. I can't like get it out onto an actual DAW or a project or whatever. Like I literally just have to sing out what I'm thinking, and then like I have to have CJ translated on guitar, so it's like, it depends. To answer your question, it just depends on what the song is, but I do prefer to write the melody first and then translate that to the instrumentals.
I gotcha. So like with that, obviously you talk about this like set of singles have been written very like quickly. Has there been times where the lyrics just aren't flowing, or you're having a hard time like coming up with like kind of any lyrics or music or anything like that?
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure every artist will struggle with that at some point in their career. And like for me, even right now, like we just finished writing our EP. But now that I'm starting to get back into the flow of writing, like for a while, I just felt so overwhelmed and so, I don't want to say busy is the word, but like I just couldn't allow myself to get into the groove of writing. And when you step out of that for so long, like you almost forget how to do it, because it's not like it's muscle memory. You know, every song is different. The approach is always going to be different. So what I think even on my last writing trip, like I worked with Justin DeBliek. CJ and I went up there and wrote the instrumentals, and then we came back down, and then I went up by myself to finish like the melody and the lyrics and everything. And when I was writing the lyrics, like we had the melody all mapped out, but when I was writing the lyrics for one of the days, I was like, God damn, like I have no idea what to write about. And the only thing I could do was like start researching the concept because this song was for the next album. So I was like, oh my God, like, what do I do? I was researching, and finally, as I was researching, I was like, okay, now I can piece things together and really start to stitch everything together. And it took a minute. Definitely took a minute.
Yeah, I'm in school right now, so like I have to write papers every week, and like it's not fun, especially like there's some stuff is easier to write if you're interested in this, and like obviously with school you're not interested in every subject you write about. Oh yeah. So like for me, I'm definitely experiencing writer block with everything, because I'm just like, I don't know what I want to talk about with this. Yeah,
I can absolutely understand that. I was actually pretty damn good at English. Like it was English and science. I don't know how they coordinate, but like whatever. But like me with math, if I had to do anything with math, like no, I could not flow at all. I could BS a paper all I wanted, you know, like I was fine by that. So if you need help, let me know.
Well, definitely, I'll hit you up if I need anything, because like I feel like with writing though, there's more room to BS something compared to math. There's like one right answer.
Yes.
So like correct. English, there's a lot more room to work with.
Absolutely, definitely more flexible. I would agree.
Yeah, I've definitely found that out. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Only a year and a half left. I'll be all right.
There you go.
All right,
are you in high school or college?
I'm in college. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought. I'm like, you seem pretty mature and grown up for a high schooler.
Yeah, I'm 27.
Got it. Love it. Yeah. Well, you know what? You got good genes, man.
That's what people tell. Okay, so I saw Deadpool 3 in November, so I was 26 at the time. Fire. And I got carded for an R-rated movie. She thought I was 16.
Awesome. Dude, you got great genes. Take it and run. Because exactly. I was telling you, all these ladies, all these peeps getting Botox and shit are gonna be so jealous of you, bro.
It's like I used to get mad at it first, but now I'm like, that's cool, and people like think I'm a lot younger than what I am. I'm cool with that. I like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. You gotta fucking take it, soak it in, own it, bro, because you're not gonna be the one paying for Botox. I'll tell you that much.
Exactly.
Syringe, fuck that.
No, I'm good. All right, well, my genes aside, folks, so obviously you have a big tour coming up that we want to talk about, but before we get to that, so obviously I saw you in Grand Rapids with Nita Strauss back in, I want to say it was November of 2023, give or take, at the intersection or Elevation. But how was it, like, you know, how did you get the opportunity to join her band?
Dude, I don't even fucking know, man. So I was obviously posting covers since 2022, I think. I don't even know. So I've been posting covers for a while, and Wage War is one of my favorite bands of all time. Love them so much. And so I would be posting Wage War covers all the time. And my now friend Anna Massard, she's absolutely fucking amazing. She is the photographer for Wage War. Like, she's the content person, and she was also Nita's content person at the time. And Nita was like, hey, like, do you know anybody? I'm trying to look for a vocalist. And Anna was like, well, do you want it to be like a boy or a girl? Like, do you have any parameters? And she was like, you know, as much as I feel like it'd probably be a guy, like I really want it to be a girl, because how fucking cool would that be if we can have a girl who can do Chris Motionless, David Draymond. Well, Chris Motionless wasn't out at that time, but David Draymond, Dorothy, Elisa Wycliffe. Like, how sick would that be to find a girl that could do everything? And Anna was like, well, you know, this girl has been doing some covers of Wage War and she's really good. So why don't you check her out? And so she was like, fuck yeah, man. I love this chick. Let me hit her up. And so she DM'd me on Instagram. And the day that she DM'd me, I remember I was literally sitting in a random hair salon by my house. I was like, I feel like getting a blowout today. I'm going to just kind of, you know, this was, otherwise I just would have been home and I could like tell people, but this is important because I couldn't say anything to anybody. So I'm at the salon, I'm waiting to get my hair done. And I look and I'm like, oh my God, I just got a DM from Nita Strauss. What the fuck? Like, and Nita is somebody who I've looked up to for years. Like, she is Alice Cooper's guitarist. She has fucking had a song with fucking David Draymond. Like, she is like the top dog, and she is a badass, powerful woman that literally just DM'd me. So I'm like, okay. And I saw that the message had something to do with touring, and I was just sitting there and I was like, I have to try not to scream right now because this is insane. And so I get my hair blown out. It's like an hour, right? It takes fucking forever for me because I just want to open this DM and read it. And so I travel to, I think I was at my now boyfriend's rehearsal space. Yeah, because it wasn't my house. So I go to his rehearsal space, which is very close to my house. But like, we weren't even like together at the time, I don't think. Were we? Oh, I don't even remember. I think it was like just us starting to date. But I go up to him and I'm like, oh my God, look at this DM that I just got. He was like, Nita Strauss? Like, holy shit. I can't believe this is happening to you. And I was like, dude, I don't know, man. And I was just losing my shit. So they asked me to send in an audition, and I did. And, you know, being 20 years old, I was like, oh my God, like, I'm not going to get this. Like, it's not happening. And then I got it, and I was like, oh my God. And that's how that happened.
Wow. Well, congrats on getting the gig. Obviously, I've seen you live with her, and it was awesome.
Thank you.
It was very cool. And so, like, with that, like, obviously being in a public space, you can't, you know, act extremely excited in a public space that you just got a message about Nita Strauss about touring. But was there like any point in your mind like, man, is this really happening?
Yes. The entire time. Even when I was on the way to go fly and like meet everybody for the first time, like Nita picked me up from the airport and I was like, what the fuck? Like, how is this? This is not real. This is totally not real. Like, mind boggling to me. Couldn't figure it out.
So like, how was it? So obviously with the songs and the artists that you mentioned to appear on her solo material, like how was it like learning these songs? Like how was your process with that?
I was definitely terrified. I'll tell you that much. I was definitely like, holy shit, am I going to be able to pull this off? Like, excuse me, there was such huge names. I mean, I've looked up to Elisa Wycliffe for fucking how long? I have listened to Disturbed since I was like fucking 2 feet tall. Like, this is crazy. So, like, the process of me learning them, like, I would just record them over and over and over. I would sing them in the car over and over and over. And I was just like, man, I just hope I am good enough for this fucking band. And now we're here.
Well, it's definitely very cool. And obviously, with everything going on with that, what was like the most challenging song to learn?
I think Dead Inside. Dead Inside is really a difficult song solely because first I'm in a male's range, right? So obviously, like being a female, I'm actually a soprano, as I was told by Melissa Cross. So sopranos are like, you know, up here in the range, and then you have an alto, which is still like female voices. Then you have tenor, which gets to male. Then you have bass, and I think David would be in like the tenor area. So, and the reason why I say that is because just the notes that you sit in, or at least is at least in that song specifically, they're just like, it's just not made for my voice, especially when you add the rasp in there. It gets even more so difficult, and there's long sustained notes, and David is just so talented, and he has just such a notable voice and a notable timbre in his voice. And I'm like, fuck, I don't even know how I'm gonna do this, but we're gonna fucking try anyway. But yeah, I mean, I think that was definitely the hardest one. That or Victorious for the opposite reason, because it's so high. And I still even to this day, I think I'm more comfortable with Dead Inside than I am about Victorious. But still to this day, like, I'll psych myself out and be like, oh my god, it's too high. And it's not. But like, it's after singing and singing for days, weeks on end, sometimes your voice gets a little bit tired, and it's like, we can't hit that note today. So then you're like, fuck.
Yeah, I think that would be anyone's reaction.
Yeah. It's not the most fun, but you know what? We pull it off. So we're here. Oh, and you know what? I'll throw in there too. Lately we've been playing Digital Bullets, which is the Chris Motionless song. And that one is totally out of my range in the verses. Like, it's so low. And you know how Chris does that, like, Marilyn Manson-y type voice? So
Nope.
Doing that at such a low register for me, like, it just sounds like Robbie or Rabbit. So it's definitely hard. It's not perfect. But you know what? We have to make it our own. So that's how we do that in my house.
Exactly. Everyone's voice is unique with everything. It's not going to sound exactly like somebody else's.
Exactly.
Now, with that in mind, so I'm curious for you, like, what is your favorite Deadlands and Nita Strauss song to perform live?
Okay. I think Wolf You Feed is my favorite for Nita, just because I feel like it sits in my range perfectly. I can do some more experimentation with the screams, and I can just have fun with it. Either Wolf or Golden Trail is also really fun too. But Through the Noise is also really fun. Oh shit. I'll go with Wolf. I'll go with the Wolf You Feed. As for Deadlands, there's two that really stick out to me, and one of them is super surprising. So House of Cards, I think, is like an obvious one. House of Cards is like my child. That was the first song that really like put us on people's radars. And that was like the first, not the first song. It was one of the first songs that I really felt super attached to. I was like, lyrically, this song really hits. Melodically, this song really hits. And it was just like one of the first things, including the production, the mix, everything. I was like, I'm super proud of this one. So I love that. And the energy that the crowd has with it is fucking incredible. And then our other song, Dead Weight, which I actually cannot stand listening to the EP, like to the recording version of that song, just because I'm like, you know, we did it all in house. And as great as CJ is, like, as a producer, as a guitarist and everything, he did that all by himself. And you know, at the time we were like, oh yeah, he did like a great job, but we're all like, fuck, like as a first EP, we were like, shit, but it's growing pains is all it is. But performing Dead Weight live, the crowd, that's like our jumpy song. So the crowd fucking loves it, and everybody will be singing the words, which also really surprised me, because that song was never... That song on our end was like, oh yeah, that's like a B-side song, you know, whatever. But people really fucked with it. So I love performing it live. It's great.
Well, right on. Well, I'm glad, people, gravitated to that song. I mean, both songs you mentioned, like House Car is my favorite. That was obviously the first song that I got into Deadlands, and, like I can see why that's like, definitely one of the favorites, especially for the crowd as well. Dead Weight's also a really good song though. Like I think I'm glad, the crowd has picked up on it and people like it, but I do think it's kind of overlooked in the catalog a little bit.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's because, we released Shallow Breath and we released Crush, and we were like, oh, these are like the two super different songs, So I think that's more so what we were going for rather than like, Crush is super high energy and so is Dead Weight. So let's just release them both. Like we just wanted to give peeps a little taste,
For sure. So now, as we're starting to close this interview out, I know it's probably the last loaded question I have for you, but like, what are the plans for you, Nita Strauss, and Deadlands, all for 2025?
Well, I am so glad you asked. So first, I literally leave on Friday. It's January 27th right now, but I leave on Friday to tour with Nita Strauss. We're going to be doing a tour with Apocalyptica, and they're going to be playing some Metallica shit, but like orchestral, which is super interesting, super cool. I cannot wait to see what they're going to be doing. We also have a couple headlining shows. We just played NAMM, which was amazing. I met, like I was telling you earlier, that's where I met Johnny Christ. I met Shavo from System of a Down. I met John Five. I met Marty Friedman, Nikki Stringfield, Tom Morello. There were so many people that I met. The Nova Twins, Zach Person. I was like, oh my God, where am I? It was a lot. So that was super cool. But as for the future, we're going to go on the Apocalyptica tour. And then for Deadlands, we have a couple tours that are in the works right now. And I cannot say anything just yet. But what I will say is that people are going to lose their mind when they find out. And we just released some teasers for our brand new single, Kundalini, which is a song that we wrote with The Pretty Wild, who I was talking to you about earlier.
Yep, nice tie-in.
Exactly. And so, oh God, that song just... It's so good, it hurts. So you absolutely have to check that out. And the pre-save is available right now.
Very nice, very nice. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Sounds like you got a very busy 2025. I very much look forward to seeing everything that you have in the works for this year, and hopefully to catch you at a show again as well. But now, as we close this out, so where are the best places to find yourself and Deadlands online?
Ooh, okay. So you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I've been posting a lot on YouTube lately, so I'm hoping that more people find out about that. I have Patreon. I have Twitch that I try to use often, but don't really use often. But you could find me anywhere at Kasey Karlsen, just my name. Super simple. And if you want to find Deadlands anywhere, feel free to search up Deadlands Band anywhere. I think on YouTube we're Deadlands Band NY, but you'll see it.
Well, very good. I will make it a little bit easier. I will leave some links for the links you mentioned in the description of this podcast. Make sure to check them out. But Kasey, thank you so much for stopping by Super Cool Radio. I had a fantastic time chatting with you.
Dude, thank you so much. This interview was so much fun.
That's what I go for. For Kasey Karlsen, I'm your host always, Matthew Thomas. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Super Cool Radio. And remember, stay frosty.